Thank you for starting your week off with us. I'm Hayden Balgavy, and here are the top stories we are following for you at noon. Shootings in Central Arkansas, one of them involving a police officer in Jacksonville. A closer look at the latest on the investigation. And in Israel, the war continues after ceasefires ended over the weekend. In less than 3 minutes, the suffering on both sides of the border. And staying safe while you prepare for the holiday. Tips from experts to keep those Christmas lights from lighting up more than you bargained for. But first, meteorologist Nathan Scott joining us this afternoon. Nathan, I say this weather trumps anything that we had, especially those cold temperatures, but what a wonderful weekend into this Monday.
Good afternoon to you, Hayden. Yeah, it was a beautiful weekend all across Central Arkansas. We had a front that made its way through late last night, and that brought in some slightly cooler numbers and also those winds, which have been gusty from the north-northwest, about 10 to as high as 25 or 30 miles per hour. Temperatures right now, they're pleasant, 55 here in the capital city, 55 in Hot Springs. More clouds in northeast Arkansas, and also some high to mid-level clouds moving through Oklahoma. So the sun will be filtered out from time to time, but look at these winds, and these are sustained winds right now. 17-mile-per-hour winds in Little Rock, 15-mile-per-hour winds in Stuttgart. So yeah, the leaves are still coming down. Some trees are totally naked. Other trees are hanging onto those leaves, but those leaves will continue to rain down across the area. We'll go for a high of 58 here in the capital city. Most locations will warm up into the mid to upper 50s this afternoon. And then tonight, with mostly clear skies, it is going to be much colder out there. You'll start off your Tuesday into the low to mid 30s. Going into the rest of the week, things will become much more unsettled just in time for the weekend. Big storm system is headed in our direction. More on that potential coming up.
All right, Nathan, thank you. This afternoon, Arkansas State Police are investigating after a Jacksonville police officer shot someone who was reportedly trying to rob the Waffle House at gunpoint. Now, this all happening just before midnight last night. Now, police say the suspect who was shot is now recovering in the hospital. Jacksonville police are not releasing the officer's name, but say that they are now on paid leave. We'll, of course, update you on air and online as we learn more. Little Rock police are working to figure out who's behind a shooting that left 2 men dead in a neighborhood just south of downtown. Officers responded to West 22nd Street around 12:30 Sunday morning, finding 2 men who appeared to be shot. Both died there at that scene. Now, police say they are investigating it as a double homicide. Both bodies were taken to the state crime lab to confirm their identity. Now, there is no word yet on any potential suspects. Also developing this afternoon, state police investigators are in the tiny Drew County town of Wilmer, where 2 men were found shot to death outside a former school building. Sheriff's deputies say they found 1 man dead inside of a car parked in the driveway of the old Wilmer Elementary School early Sunday morning. Another man was found lying in the street. Both were pronounced dead at that scene. In international news, the Israeli military is expanding its hunt for Hamas, taking its ground offensive to every part of the Gaza Strip. Now, a warning that some of the images depicted, of course, in this are difficult to watch. As Ian Lee shows, Israel is ordering evacuations, but Palestinians say they're running out of places to go.
As Israel expands the war in Gaza, so does the devastation and despair.
We're pursuing Hamas wherever Hamas is hiding, in the north and in the south.
But the people of Gaza are paying the price. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry now puts the death toll above 15,000. Israel's military continues to drop leaflets ordering residents to evacuate their homes.
In Gaza,
every day, Israel Defense Forces say they find more tunnels, claiming around 800 so far. With tensions mounting in the region, America's military is responding. Over the weekend, the USS Carney naval destroyer shot down drones fired at commercial ships in the Red Sea. Iran-backed Houthi rebels claimed responsibility. With the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas broken, more than 130 hostages remain in Gaza. 8 of them American, including 23-year-old Hirsch Goldberg-Polin.
If Hirsch can hear this, just know we love you. Stay strong. Survive.
Pain on both sides of the border as the war rages with no end in sight. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
A group of Senate Democrats say without meaningful steps to protect civilians in Gaza, they will block U.S. military aid to Israel. That could come up for a vote sometime this week. Back here at home, happening later today, citizens in Little Rock will have another chance to give their thoughts and opinions for the downtown Little Rock master plan. Now you can weigh in on upgrades to parks, open spaces, streets, mobility, and much more. The workshop is scheduled to take place later this evening at 6 p.m. That's at the Robinson Center's Still Ballroom on West Markham. Now the planning process is set to continue with more public meetings to be held through next spring. In Washington, demonstrators gathered outside of the U.S. Supreme Court today before oral arguments in the case Harrington versus Purdue 7 Pharmaceuticals were set to begin. Now, the case involves a challenge to the bankruptcy plan for Purdue Pharma, the maker of OxyContin. Now, in the plan, the family who owns the company would be shielded from civil lawsuits related to the opioid epidemic. The issue the court will be discussing is whether they can be protected from lawsuits related to that epidemic, despite not having declared bankruptcy themselves. And it is day 5 of the UN Climate Conference underway in Dubai. Over the weekend, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency announced a new rule aimed at sharply reducing methane emissions from existing oil and gas wells. Now, it would also regulate small wells that are subject to an initial inspection but are rarely checked again for leaks. Now, the EPA estimates the new rule will prevent the escape of an estimated 58 million tons of methane, a potent climate warming gas. Police in Los Angeles are holding a suspect in a series of murders that suggest a serial killer was targeting homeless people. 33-year-old Jared Powell is accused of killing 3 people just last week. He also allegedly shot and killed a 4th person during a robbery. Now, Powell is due in court later today. Elise Preston reports on the investigation that led to his arrest and murder charges.
We announced there was a killer on the loose. Now he is in custody.
With accused murder suspect Jared Powell under arrest, Los Angeles police are now investigating to see if there are any other victims.
Based on his criminal history, he didn't just start doing this a week ago.
Police believe Powell shot and killed 3 homeless men on November 26th, 27th, and 29th. On November 28th, police say Powell shot and killed a 4th man, Nicholas Cimbolin, during a robbery at his home. According to investigators, they identified a vehicle at that scene and used automatic license plate reading technology to locate the car and arrest its driver, 33-year-old Powell, a Los Angeles resident.
Over the course of our investigation of our murders, we were able to identify the vehicle we believe connected to our 3 homicides as being the same vehicle Mr. Powell used in the murder of Mr. Cimbolin.
Police say they also found a handgun inside the car, which they believe has been tied to all 4 shootings.
It breaks our hearts that when we find out that, these people that we work with on a daily basis are getting attacked.
Elise Preston, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Well, coming up, one man has a new outlook on life after an early screening helped with an early cancer diagnosis. After the break, how the decision changed his life. And a warning from safety advocates about decorating during the holidays. A closer look at what you can do to prevent hurting yourself or your home. Nathan?
It's a pretty nice start to the work week. Hayden, we've got some clouds making their way in here from the west, but overall we'll see lots of sunshine, comfortable temperatures. Tomorrow will be warmer, and then it turns cooler on Wednesday. Lots of stuff to talk about this week. I'll have all the details you need to know coming up.